Alright, what's going on, guys? Back with another video. Today we're gonna install or replace the door lock actuators. So when I bought the car, the power locks didn't work. I'll show you guys real quick. So if you pay attention to the locks, when I switch it from unlock to lock, as you can see, it doesn't move. And I'm unlocking right here and nothing's happening. So currently only the hatch works, and I know it's not a fuse because the fuse is perfectly fine. Also, I've already replaced the passenger side just so it'd be easier to show you guys how to do it on the driver's side. But as you can see, the passenger side is locked right now, and I just unlock it and now it works. So I know for sure it's the door lock actuators. Let's get going. Okay, so the tools that you'll need, a Phillips screwdriver, 10 mil socket, and then on the side over here, there's like these 3 torque screws. They're supposed to be T30s, but we didn't have any, so I just grabbed like a small flathead, and it fits perfectly across. Also, these were already really loose, so I'm just gonna unscrew these real quick. But to go over everything, it has those 3 screws right there. There's gonna be 2 screws on the bottom, and then over here you're gonna have to use a flathead, lift those covers up, and there's gonna be 2 more screws there. And then in the middle of the door handle, you're gonna have to lift this cover right here, and there's gonna be 1 screw right there. And then down here by where the little cubby thing is, there's a screw in there as well. And after that, you should be able to pop this door off. Oh, and also take this little triangle piece off too, just so it doesn't get in the way. I'm gonna start unscrewing everything now. Just gonna grab a flathead and pop these covers off. You could probably use like a plastic trim remover so you don't scratch up the plastics, but I don't have that, so. So now that we've exposed the screws, you can either use like an 8 mil socket or just use a Phillips screwdriver. Just unscrew these. And now I'm gonna remove this cover. Just grab your little pry tool, pry that cover off. And then it should expose a screw in the middle right here. So just go ahead and unscrew this as well. And then there's 1 screw that's hidden in here. And then the last 2 screws are down here. So we got all the screws off. And before we lift the door panel off, remove this triangular piece. Just a little cover, just so it gets out of the way. There we go. As you can see, these are what basically pegs into these holes. So now, on the driver's side, you have this little harness that connects the controls for the mirrors. On the passenger side, you won't have this extra harness. And then over here is, which one's the door handle? Okay, so we have, this one is for the door handle and this one's for the lock. And they're all on like a ball. So you just lift that one out and you can see this ball right here. Just go like this and it just pops right out. Same thing on the other side. Pull that up. And on here, you just go along right like this.
It goes down, remember?
Oh, and down and out. And there you go. So now we got the easiest part done. This now is the hardest part. In order to access the door lock actuators, which is in here, I'm gonna have to peel this off. It probably would have been easier if you had like an X-Acto knife or something. You could just cut in between the glue thingy. Alright, so now we have these. We're just gonna pull them through, or first just unhook these. I feel electrical tape on here. Pull this one down. Look, I broke it. So now you just fish this through the plastic. On this side, there's 2 10 mil bolts, or nuts. One on top, one on the bottom. Now that we got those two nuts off, the hardest part is inside, where the door handle and the actual locking mechanism connects to these two rods, these metal rods. On the metal rods, there's like these white plastic clips, and you just have to push them off of the rod. All right, so this is what we see inside. You can see that little orange plastic piece that's connected to the rod. We're just gonna have to separate that from the rod. So that orange plastic piece right there is what you're trying to snap off of the rod. Use some force and you should be able to push it up like so. So there's the first one. That rod is the one that connects to the door handle. And then the second one is gonna be right here. You could barely see it, but it's the yellow plastic that's behind the rod. And you basically do the same thing to it, where you push it up, disconnect it, and try to pull it out from there. Also for the top rod, after you disconnect the plastic clip, you're gonna have to pull it out. It's like in an L shape, so the little short side is still kind of pegged into there. So we're just gonna go ahead and take it out right now. So basically what I did there was I pulled up on the door handle, and then I grabbed the rod and I just pulled it this way, because the rod is kind of like a hook, right? So it hooks into that little plastic piece. I lifted up the door handle and then pulled the rod this way. So door handle rod is completely disconnected, and now I'm just gonna try to disconnect the locking mechanism one. So for the second one, I used a flathead and just pried the clip off, since it was kind of difficult to use my fingers. And again, the same thing. So it's in there like an L shape like this, and all I had to do was, after the clip unclipped, I just pulled the rod out like that. So now we should be able to pull the whole thing off. Also, there's a harness that connects to there. I'm just gonna unclip this, which is where the harness clips onto, just so I could take it out easier. This is gonna be fished through.
Fishing, huh? You like fish?
So there you have it. It was really dirty, but here is the harness that connects to it. All you gotta do is just unplug it. Like
nice.
So now the actual door lock actuator is this yellow piece right here, and to get this off, there's two screws right here, one screw right here that removes this whole shroud piece, and then another screw back here, and that should be it. So this one's a really small screw. Don't lose it. Probably gonna lose it.
Where'd that small screw go?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain how this wire connects into there. The wire is straight, and then it bends into like an L shape, and then another L shape. So it's kind of like a Z, and you're just gonna have to maneuver it around it to take it off. So just pull it off, and this part is on a ball joint right here. So now all it's connected to is to this wire. So just gonna maneuver it, as you can see. There we go. As I mentioned earlier, the wire is kind of like this, like a zigzag, and you just had to like kind of go like this right through this hole. Okay, so here's the new door lock actuator. It's in this box. All right, so now we have the new one. We're just gonna do everything backwards and put everything back together. It works. As you can see from the top right here. So pay attention to the bottom wire. It moves, which means it's working. Okay, now we're just gonna put everything back, reverse order, and yeah, you should be good to go. Okay, now I'm just gonna connect these back into the door handle, plug this back in, peg everything into these holes, and then screw them all together. What in the fuck? Alright, so I came across something after putting back the passenger side. As you can see, it does not, the button does not reach all the way. So when I unlock, it unlocks fine. But when I go to lock it, you see how it's kind of like halfway stuck? And it should be like this. So when I was putting on the driver's side, I was having a problem with this part. After I plugged everything in, when I pressed the button to lock it, it would get stuck like this, but I had no problem unlocking it. And the reason why I was doing that is because this part didn't have enough distance to travel. And so I went in here and I finally figured out. So as you can see, this wire has a lot of travel distance. As you can see, I'm pulling it back and forth. But earlier, since it kind of got caught on something, it only traveled like about this much. That's why the lock switches weren't moving too much. So I figured out that this part where it has the little triangle piece is supposed to go inside that little piece that's next to the ball joint, that little hole. But earlier I didn't have this little triangle piece inside there, so it kept getting stuck. So as you can see, this triangle part should go in there, and that's where it's gonna be traveling from. Alright, so real quickly, I know this is pretty confusing as this is a pretty complicated mechanism, but as you can see, I'm pulling on it and pushing on it. You see there's more travel distance. Earlier, I had that little triangle piece sticking outside of it, so it would get stuck right there, and there would just be little to no travel distance. But now, since I have put that little triangle piece into the little box, there's more travel distance, so that should solve the problem of this not closing all the way. All right, so there we have it. I have everything put back together, and as you can see, I can unlock and lock it. Same with the other side. So yeah, all right, that'll be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys found this useful. I know it was kind of hard to explain. It was really hard to show how to disconnect the rods from the clips inside. But yeah, hopefully you guys got the gist of how to replace the door actuators. Apparently this is a pretty common issue on the Celicas. So yeah, if your door locks don't work, it's probably just the actuators. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.